Welcome to No Facts Needed, and today we're going to be talking about the Buffalo Bills and how they have the potential
Bills Mafia
to take over the AFC East this year. Let's jump right into it. We have the Bills ranked as the 20th best team in the NFL out of 32, obviously. Okay, my record prediction for the Bills this year is 9-7. What is your record prediction?
8-8.
All right, so Vegas has them at a solid 9 wins. Last year they went 10-6, so minimal drop off. Let's talk about their schedule. So within their own division, it's fairly easy. I mean, the Pats are like a broke down car on the side of the highway. The Jets have Adam Gase, who's an idiot, running their team. And then the Dolphins probably might be their biggest competition right now, you know? They also play the NFC West, which is pretty rough. They have the Cards, Niners, Hawks, and Rams. AFC West, which could be rough depending on the Broncos, Chargers, and Raiders. And then, of course, the Chiefs are a hard team to play. And then Titans or Steelers. Thoughts, pretty rough, but they'll be competitive with every single game. Okay, let's talk about their offseason, starting with the draft. They got AJ Epinesa, Zach Moss, Gabriel Davis, and the racist Jake Fromm. Offseason acquisitions: Josh Norman, Mario Addison, AJ Klein, Quentin Jefferson, Vernon Butler, EJ Gaines, Darrell Williams, and then they traded a first-round pick for Stephon Diggs. They lost Frank Gore, Shaq Lawson, Jordan Phillips, Kevin Johnson, and Lorenzo Alexander. So thoughts. My thoughts was the draft was pretty good. The signings were good. Lawson and Phillips are going to be missed, but I think they're able to fill those holes throughout the signings. Mm-hmm. And Diggs is he's going to be big for this team, I think.
Yeah, I think the Bills are better than they were last year, even though I don't think they're going to have a better record. Well, last year they played like pretty much the easiest schedule in the league. They played one team, or they out of their 10 wins, only one of those teams that they beat was over 500, and that was the Tennessee Titans, who were solid 9-7. And just to run through the teams that they did beat, that's the Jets, the Giants, the Bengals, like I said, the Titans, and then the Dolphins twice, the Redskins, the Broncos, and then their only really, like, if you want to call them quality wins, was over these two teams in the Cowboys and the Steelers, who like pretty much fell completely on their faces last year. And so this year they're going in, and like I said, I think they're better, but now they have expectations and they're going to be playing a more difficult schedule. And I just think they're bound to regress.
Let's talk about their coach. So their head coach is Sean McDermott. He's bald, so I don't know about him, but he's been good, and he shines when it comes to defense. He definitely gets the most out of his defensive players. We can talk about the positions, starting with Josh Allen. He's a player. There's only a few players in the league like him that he's overrated and underrated at the same time. People either love him or hate him, and he is what he is. I mean, he just is a guy that can make great throws and miss other throws. He can win football games, but he can also lose football games. Last year, he had 59% completion, 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Not really good stats, but he did improve his stats a ton from his rookie season. His rookie season, he only had 53% completion, 2,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. So he did improve. So as long as he can keep improving, it's gonna be good for the Bills.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. With Josh Allen, I just feel like he hasn't improved, like, since he got to the league. Like, statistically, he was better last year, sure. But, like, the problems that he had coming in, he still has. Mm-hmm. Like, he can't consistently make throws. I mean, 20% of his passes were charted as bad passes last year, which is far and away the most in the league. Yeah. And, yeah, he only got sacked 38 times, so to have a completion percentage as low as 58, I just don't really believe in Josh Allen as, like, a top-tier quarterback, so I have a problem, like, seeing them as a top-tier team.
I rated this position group on a grade scale as a B+, so we can move to running backs. We can talk about Devin Singletary, and people really like him, but I kind of see him more as an Eckler Kamara type, because he's really small, and I see him more as a utility guy.
To me, he kind of screams like Tariq Cohen.
And then they also have Zach Moss, kind of in the same boat, 5'9", really a small guy.
See, I think Moss could be their number one. Mm-hmm. I don't know. With Utah last year, he was a really big bruiser, and, I think he could kind of emerge as their bell cow.
So I graded them as a B because they have a lot of talent, but they still need to show some more. We can move on to wide receivers. Number one guy, they traded from the Vikings, Stephon Diggs. Great wide receiver, top tier, can run any route, is fast for those deep balls, and I think he's going to fit well with Josh Allen. They also have John Brown, pretty much just like Diggs, just on another step down. Can run routes, fast, kind of smaller guy. And then they have Cole Beasley, who's the top slot guy in the NFL. Smart guy that can find open spaces.
They finally have a real number one.
Yeah.
Stephon, so... I mean, and they have depth, too. Robert Foster and a couple of other guys.
Isaiah Hodgkins, Isaiah McKenzie.
Yeah.
For that, I gave them a B+. I think this is a pretty good wide receiver core for Josh Allen, just to chunk it and they can go get it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can talk about tight ends now. The only really guy, they have Dawson Knox. He's a 6'4", 250 guy that had highlights last year, but only had 388 receiving yards. He was a rookie last year, so you kind of get a pass as a tight end. So for that, I graded them as a C+, but Dawson Knox can definitely show up and do better. So we can move on to O-line. I'll let you talk about them.
Their O-line's solid. They're going to return all 5 starters. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the same starters for this year, but, I mean, they have all the same 5 guys on their roster.
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell Morse, really good center. Brought him over, paid him a good contract because he's pretty good. Quentin Spain, also good serviceable veteran. Feliciano is more or less a role player at this point in his career, but that's okay. And then you have Cody Ford, from Oklahoma, second-round pick from last year. Kind of struggled as a pass blocker last year, but as a run game, I mean, you kind of saw it. And then, Deion Dawkins, who is big guy on the outside who's, doing his job protecting the blind side. He's not a top-tier left tackle or anything. Nobody's going to put him on their all-pro team, but he's really good and really sturdy. This is a really good unit.
I rated them as a B. We can move to defense, starting with D-line. Super deep D-line. We can talk about Vernon Butler. 6 sacks last year, was first-round pick in 2016. Kind of a bust. I mean, he hasn't really shown, super good, but he can definitely turn his career around. I think he's one of those players that McDermott can get his hands on and kind of help him be the player he should be.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about some other guys?
So Star Lotulelei opted out. He's not going to be there, so that's a little bit of a concern. But other than that, they still have a lot of players, like you said. They have Vernon Butler, Harrison Phillips,
yeah,
and then they have Vincent Taylor and Quentin Jefferson, Ed Oliver, obviously, who's their best guy in the middle. I really like Ed Oliver and what he's been able to do.
Yeah, he's a dog up front for sure.
Pretty good pass rushing ability from the defensive interior. And then on the outside of the line, they have Epinesa, who they brought in. They paid a hefty price for Mario Addison, but
he's had 9 sacks over the last 2 years.
He's had his fun in the sun in the league, so he knows what he's doing. And then you've still got Jerry Hughes, who's going to come off the other edge, and I think Epinesa could be a steal.
Yeah.
He's going to be a guy a lot of people are watching, but I think the key for him is going to be he has all the pass rush moves that you look for. But he needs to show that he's athletic enough, to kind of translate those into the NFL. And if he can do that, he could be a real steal from 2020. So.
Mm-hmm. And Ed Oliver is another guy that can be a number 1 pass rusher, but he's a D tackle, so don't expect too much from him.
I think this is a good group. Probably not the strength of their defense, but they're going to be able to get the job done most of the time.
Yeah, I graded them as a B+. Let's move on to linebackers. Matt Milano, good in coverage, got 18 pass deflections and 4 interceptions in the last 3 years. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Tremaine Edmonds, one of the top-tier linebackers going into his third year already. He probably might be a top 5 linebacker. He does everything well and seems to be at the right spot at the right time. And then they also have A.J. Klein, who's a veteran that can do about everything but not great at anything.
Yeah, Matt Milano, really underrated. Pretty much another safety, basically, out on the field.
I think we can move on to DBs. You want to talk about them?
Their secondary is really good.
Really good.
Trey White is a top 5 corner for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe
I think he's underrated for
top
sure.
3 probably.
People don't talk about him enough.
He is really, really good. EJ Gaines also not playing this year. But they do have Josh Norman, and they have some guys from last year like Teron Johnson, who might be in the slot. Could be Trey White there also. And then they have Levi Wallace, good, big, tall man coverage corner on the outside. And then their safety duo is really, really good. Like Micah Hyde, one of those guys.
Pretty darn
Trolling
good.
the middle, making some picks happen, deflecting passes. Really underrated. And then Jordan Poyer, also, not a lot of people know who he is, but he's a really important piece of this defense, in the right place at the right time a lot.
Yeah.
So I think this is their strongest unit, is their secondary.
As the position group, I graded them as an A. So let's talk about their ability in this league to win games.
I have them in the playoff hunt, but just on the outside looking in this year.
I have them winning their division. So let's talk about some pros. They should be able to run the ball, and they have the talent to make big plays on the defense. Their defense is obviously good. Anything else you want to say about what's good about this team?
I really like Sean McDermott and what he's done with this team. I feel like ever since he's come in, they've kind of stopped making so many mistakes, more or less, in the front office. And, I mean, they're turning these players into real... They're getting production out of everybody they get.
So let's be honest and talk about some cons, though. This team is really limited to Josh Allen. Josh Allen is one of those players that will definitely lose you games, but can win you games. Like, last year, I think he had, 22 fumbles in the last 2 seasons. So he's going to give the ball away a lot. Well, this has been No Facts Needed. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment. Let us know down below your record prediction on the Bills. Let us know if you think they're going to win their division, if the Pats are actually going to be as bad as they say they will. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.